Welcome back. 9:15 is your time. As you're setting new goals for yourself in the new year, don't forget your children. Our next guest says setting expectations is one thing. Setting realistic expectations is where some parents get tripped up. Licensed psychologist and author Dr. Erik Fisher, we like to call him Dr. E, joins us now with more. And let's just get to it, because your first point I think is interesting. You say don't make a New Year's resolution. Make a New Year's revolution.
Absolutely.
What does that mean?
Absolutely. Well, resolutions are about setting intentions and problem solving. Revolutions are about true change. We have to think about it as we want to create a change in our life and the life of our children. So we have to not just say, I'm going to do this, but we have to say, we are going to do this, and we're going to work on change, and setting that example and following through are really critical to that process.
Okay, first step, assessing the weaknesses and the strengths,
Right.
not just for the entire family.
Right, exactly, because if you only assess your child's weaknesses and or strengths and you don't look at yours, you have to look at the interaction of the two of you, because you're their guide and their leader. You also want to lead by example. But you don't just want to look at, if you wanted them to change academically, to look at their academic strengths, you have to look at their personal strengths, their relational strengths, because they have to get along with teachers and kids at school that contributes to academics. You have to look at their moral strengths. Do they cheat, or do they lie, or do they tell the truth? That's going to affect their academics. But also their physical strength, because that affects self-esteem as well. So all these factors you want to look at collectively, as well as yours, to make sure that what you're doing to try to change is also going to add to what they're doing to help them to change.
Is it something you do secretly? Do you just kind of just let it slide into the new system without telling anybody? Or
well, you want to have a family meeting. I'm a big believer in family meetings, because you want to help to see where they're at conversationally and help them to learn the art of conversation and setting goals and talking about how to set goals. Goals should be short-term, intermediate, and long-term. Short-term goals might be a week to a month to 3 months. Intermediate might be 1 month to 3 months to 6 months to a year. And long-term might be 6 months to the rest of your life. So you want to teach them the difference between setting goals and how to set goals. And that's important, because you want them to learn how to plan. And planning behavior isn't just something we're born with, it's something we adopt and learn over time.
So let's say after the family meeting, we all go in and go break, and that's it.
Oh no,
No.
gotta write things
we
down.
shake hands and
Right,
no, you gotta
exactly.
write it down.
Right, people are 80% more likely to accomplish goals that they write down, and that's a really important statistic, because we can go and set our resolution and our intention, but the revolution is about change. In any country that's had a revolution, you have to write down the goals and the constitution for the change of that new country. You want to do that within your family. Write down your constitution to set change for this year and into the future.
What if your constitution is to just go off when everything goes wrong?
Well,
I like he terms it the nuclear option.
Yeah, the nuclear option often doesn't work out well. While creating and inspiring fear might result in rapid change, it doesn't often result in long-term change. So if we just scare our kids, or we threaten them to ground them for a year if they don't bring their A's up, or their grades up, or they're going to be grounded for the summer, that option often doesn't really work towards them wanting to learn how to learn. It works in them learning how to reach just the goal and no more. Also, it can result in sabotage, in more resentment, in more difficulties in relationships in the long run. So we have to see that if our option we go to is to blow things up, what are we teaching our kids and how they're supposed to deal with things as they grow and get older?
That's why you say time is of essence. Just
exactly. It takes 10 weeks for the brain to reorganize into new habit patterns at least, and then you have lots of times where that behavior can backslide. So you need to re-inoculate that change and make sure you're revisiting your goals. Revisit those goals that you wrote down, follow them up, check your path and your progress. And that goes back to the behavioral chart we talked about months ago. It's similar to that in that way. But I always say that we're perfectly imperfect, and we have to know that our kids are perfectly imperfect. So realize where we're at in our imperfections and where they're at. Look back to when we were kids and how do we perform when we were kids, because we might be a lot like them, and then be realistic about that process of change and know that it's a process of growth.
And like you said several times, be the change that you want to see in your children. Where can people see this article? you have this?
Oh, I have an article called Reach for the Stars and Land on Uranus, and it talks about the differences between hopes, dreams, goals, and expectations and what the differences are, which is really important stepping into the process of setting goals and revolutions and change in your life.
Always good stuff. Way to start the year off right.
Well, thank you.
That. All right, for more information on Dr. E or today's segment on setting realistic expectations for you and your children for 2015, just log into our website, myfoxatlanta.com. Click on the Good Day tabs. And once again, Dr. E, congratulations to your Ohio State Buckeyes. Heading to the national championship.
Say I-O.
I-O.
I-O real loud.
I-O. I can't really say I-O.